Hi and welcome to Watch the Time and my review of this new watch I've got, and it is the Vostok Komandirskie. So I'm just going to take it off the wrist and go through this fun, great little watch. There is a reason I've got these other three here, and we'll go into that shortly. So here we have the Vostok Komandirskie. So as you may know, I have a Vostok Amphibia, the Scuba Dude, which I've distressed the case on and generally messed about with. I love that watch. It's a great fun little piece and very quirky. Now, I've seen the Komandirskie before. My dad got one recently actually, and that's kind of prompted me to get this one. I actually found this one second hand, but in, as you can see, pretty much mint condition on eBay, and it cost me the princely sum of £27, including postage and two straps. This really nice leather NATO and a rubber strap. I think the original strap is long gone, or if it came on a bracelet, that's long gone, and good riddance to it, because they tend to be crap. One of the reasons I liked this Komandirskie was the dial. Obviously it's fun. I like the emerald green on the bezel. I haven't got a watch that's got any kind of green like that on it, so it was quite an interesting piece for me. I wanted to try it out, and whether it was going to stay part of my collection, you know, who knows. The idea was to buy it in for a review and then probably sell it on, but at the moment I've got no intention of selling this, and I am going to keep it. A lot of people slag off Vostoks and say they're rubbish, they're poorly made, they're poorly put together, and you know, the reason I've got the Zin there is I've got two watches here which are both currently staying in my collection. Whether that is the case in the future, you know, who knows. But both of these watches are staying in my collection. This one costs around £1,200. This you can get for about 60 quid. You know, second hand 800, second hand 27. You know, but I like them equally. They've both got some great features. They both obviously tell the time. You know, one's German made and, you know, it's got a Swiss movement in it. The other one's all Russian. But at the end of the day, they're both great watches, but for different reasons. So we'll just put that back there. And there's another reason I've got that there as well. I just wanted to show you something, which we'll actually talk about first. And that is the fact that these Vostoks, and I didn't know this when I bought them, and it only sort of dawned on me when I put them on my time grapher. But they run at they're low beat, so they run at 19,800 or 19,600, whatever it is. Whereas the Zin, for instance, runs at 28,800 beats, and then like the Seiko there will be 21,600. So as you can see, the Vostok is a low beat, 19,800 or 19,600, can't remember which, and the Zin 28,800. And there you can see the difference. If you look at the second hand, obviously the Zin has got a smoother sweep, and the Vostok has a sort of a more defined tick, and then you've got the sort of the norm, the 21,800, which is somewhere in the middle. And the majority of automatics are that one. The low beat doesn't bother me. It's again, it's a quirk of the watch. It just adds to the charm of the watch, in my opinion. You've got a fairly basic printed dial, but it's a fun dial. It's got, it looks like a MiG-21, a ship, some sort of tank or rocket launcher on there. Got the red star at the 12 o'clock position with two lume pips either side of it, and then you've got the Komandirskie and the Vostok, and down the bottom there what I assume says made in Russia or something like that. I don't know, I don't speak Russian. Fairly plain handset. You've got the red second hand. My other Vostok's got a red second hand. I don't know if that's a Vostok thing or whether that's just the two that I've got are both red. We've got a smooth bisexual bezel with no indents. This isn't a dive watch. You know, I'm not sure about the water resistance of these. I've heard they're only about 30 meters, so they're just kind of splash proof really. Nothing more than that. But the bezel rotates, and it's smooth, but it is handy as a timing bezel for cooking and stuff like that, parking meters, things like that, just day-to-day stuff. It's a useful timing function. Let's talk about the crown. So we've got nice crown guards there, nice crown, and when you undo it, you get this it kind of like, is that going to fall off, or you get this wobbly kind of effect on the crown, and it actually feels like it's disconnected in some way. It's just weird. It's not broken, it's how they've designed it. I'm not saying it's better than anything else. They seem to think it is. Obviously no other watch brand that I know do, so you know, it is what it is. Some people hate it, some people like it. It's quirky and I like it. And the other thing about this watch is it's a hand winder, so there's no rotor in this, which makes it quite a nice thin watch. Just get that out of the way. So as you can see there, it's a nice thin watch. Obviously the big acrylic domed crystal adds to that, but the actual watch itself is a very svelte watch, and part of that is the fact that it hasn't got a rotor and it's a hand winder. And when I bought this, I didn't actually know it was a hand winder until I sort of shook it and nothing happened, and I was like, oh, okay. But I really like the fact that it's a hand winder. It's my only hand wind watch. It's kind of keeps you connected. That's it. That's fully wound now. That will stay fully wound for a day or so. And it's just like a ritual every morning or every evening. You just give it a wind. Only takes a few seconds, and then you're good to go. I think the power reserve on these is said to be about 36 hours, but it doesn't bother me. It's just a a nice quirk of the watch. Not to everyone's taste, I know that. It's also got the funny date change function, whereby you have to move the hands backwards and forwards. If you look, you can see my Vostok video to see how to do that. So it's got no quick set date function, so it can be a bit of a pain when you're changing the date. Again, another quirk of the watch. Quite often when I'm wearing my my scuba doo there, I don't even bother to set the date, because to be honest, I can barely see it anyway with my eyes. Screws in quite nicely, as it is obviously a screw-in crown. I'm just going to take the strap off, and then we'll have a good look around the watch. So I really like the lugs on this. They kind of, when you look at it from the top, they turn down, but they've got this kind of bevel chamfer thing going on here, which is a bit of an unusual shape. Really like that. It's a nice touch. They didn't need to do that. I love the way the lugs really sort of angle down. It makes this watch wear really well, and because it's so thin, it wears really nicely anyway. We've got 18mm lug width, which I prefer a 20, which is why I've got the leather strap that I've got is not tapered in any way, because I find them a bit thin at 18mm. You can get in a 20mm NATO if you want it to look a bit thicker, the band on the wrist. I've done that and it looks absolutely fine. And then on the back there, you've got obviously the screw down case back, which is a separate ring which holds the back in. A really nice system for screwing the back on a watch. I don't know why more companies don't use that system, because it means that once you've seated the case back on the rubber seal, it's not actually twisting the seal, it's just compressing it. So I think it's a really good system with this kind of lock-in ring. Obviously there's some Russian words on there, which I've got no idea what that says, but there you go. The cases are brass and they're covered in like chrome, so they're all shiny. You can distress them like I've distressed my Vostok to give them a bit of a more grungy sort of tool effect look. This one I've done, I stripped it down and had a go at the case, and this was my first attempt, so it's not perfect, but I really like it, and I think it gives the watch a really nice sort of patina aging effect. Accuracy rise, this one is within, when I put it on the time grapher, I think it came up about 7 seconds a day, but it was actually about 5 or 6 on the wrist. And so it's plenty accurate enough. I've had much more expensive watches which are not as accurate as this. Actually no, it was running after I put it on after I checked it after 24 hours, it was actually 2 seconds a day slow. So a really good performing watch. You can't really fault a watch like this. I mean, you've got this acrylic crystal, and there's no sapphire here. It's this acrylic crystal, which I've said before has this kind of, it's very tactile. It's got like a squeaky feel to it, and it feels different to sapphire, and it's quite nice. If you're thinking of this like as a fidget spinner kind of watch that you're going to mess around with and not worry about too much, You know, that acrylic is vulnerable to scratches and things, as is my Vostok, but I just polywatch it out and they come up really nice. So I don't have an issue with that. I actually really quite like it, and to me it's a feature of the watch. If you put a sapphire glass on there, it would detract from the watch, in my opinion. So I'm just going to pop it on the wrist for you. So there it is on my just over 7-inch wrist. Quite a small watch. Great for someone with a more slender wrist. It's very lightweight and it's very thin. I mean, even with a double thickness, I mean, look at the thickness of the leather strap there. It doesn't make this a watch that's sort of top heavy or stand too high, and that's the beauty of this. A lot of times when you put a leather NATO on a watch, it will stand too high on the wrist, but this one really doesn't, and I think it looks really great. I just want to show you the loom. It obviously does have loom, this watch. It's actually not that bad. I mean, it's not Seiko loom, it's not going to last all night, but it's with a good charge. I mean, that's just from the sun. It's okay. The dots and the hands, you know, it's a very small amount of loom, so you know it's okay while it's charged, but it's never going to last all night. But there is a bit there, enough to be sort of interest, and certainly worth showing anyway. And it's definitely not the worst loom I've seen. Better than my other Vostok and better than a lot of the Casios that I've had. And I really like it. So it's a watch that I bought in for a review, and is definitely going to stay in my collection. So it came on this really nice sort of unbranded leather NATO strap. I really like it. I think it really suits the watch. It's quite good, this, because it reminds me when I pick this watch up that this isn't a waterproof watch. It's got a little bit of water resistance. I suspect it's splash proof only. I don't know. It doesn't say anything on it, or certainly not in English that I can read, so I'm just going to assume it's not one for swimming in, so that's why it's on the leather strap, and that works fine for me. So thanks for watching. Watch the time, like, subscribe, share, comment. Hope you enjoyed this one. I know the Vostoks are not to everyone's taste, but for 27 quid with a couple of straps, this is, for me, it's been great value. It's a great experience, a great little watch, and it's definitely staying in my collection at the moment. So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.